Hey, it's Benji Cole, son of Al Cole from CBS Radio and host of People of Distinction, the talk that gives an in-depth view of some of the most dynamic, intelligent, and successful people on the planet. Run to our website, peopleofdistinction.org for more info, or you can always email me directly at benji@alcoleenterprises.com. And on the line with us today, we have J.R. Canuel. We're going to be discussing his wonderful poetry book, Soul Road, The Journey Home. Available for purchase through Amazon as well as barnesandnoble.com. But people, listen, if you want to gather everything that Joe has in store, do yourself a favor and head directly to his personal site. That's soulroad.org. There you'll find more information on Joe himself, more information on this fantastic book, as well as find hyperlinks set up to take you to the purchasing page. So one more time, that's soulroad.org. And I will say, Joe was brought to our network, People of Distinction, today by some of the best publishers in the business. That's right, Author Reputation Press. So if you or anybody you know have a book that you'd like moved, give yourself the best gift you could possibly give and move it through ARP. You can find out more information on them at authorreputationpress.com. So without further ado, sit back, strap in, and let's get ready for a wonderful ride. Joe, first and foremost, welcome to People of Distinction, and thank you very much for being a guest with us today. How you doing, man?
Good, Benji. Good. How are you?
I'm wonderful,
Doing
Joe.
Well.
Great, man. Listen, this is a pleasure. We're looking forward to having you as a guest, looking forward to having another book to add to the shelf. But also, Joe, there's something about what you're doing here that, again, I just keep coming back to how original it is. And I know that was really one of your big things when you were embarking upon this journey because, A, there's a lot of poetry books out there. B, there's a lot of Christian and inspirational books out there. So you knew going into this that you really had to do something that was going to set your book apart from others in its category. And I think you did just that, man. We're very impressed by the work that you've established and really looking forward to this, as I'm sure my listening audience is as well. Joe, before we go into your book, though, let's hold off slightly, man. Start by telling our listening audience a little bit more about yourself and your background.
I live in Western Massachusetts, in Greenfield, Massachusetts. I've been married to my wife for 37 years. I've got 9 grandkids, 3 beautiful daughters, 3 great son-in-laws. I mean, it's recently retired, which is awesome. Now I can focus on music and the book, kind of full-time now, which is really special. We've been working on it for a long time. And again, being that it's been a long process to get it to its final product, and trusted God all along the journey. And this is where we're at now. It's really a great book. I mean, not because I wrote it. I believe it's a gift from God to me first. Mm-hmm. And whenever I play out or we do concerts to support the book, I mean, the music has to move me first before I would ever think about putting it in the book. And that's a big part of what the book is. A lot of emotion in the book too. Every page, I don't know what everyone's personal journey is, or your personal journey, Benji, but we're all on one. That's the idea of Soul Road, is that from the cradle to the grave. Mm-hmm. But we are on a spiritual journey, and every day isn't going to be sunshine and lollipops. There are going to be a lot of tears and pain and disappointments, and yet a lot of victories. That's what the book portrays, is probably an aid in how to get through all that and to find God in every day. And I think that's, to me, its greatest gift is every day it presents something different, a different theme. They're all written different, created different. And I think in a way to me, it's the greatest gift. It really is. It's just a wonderful opportunity for people to daily take a journey closer to God. And every page has a Bible verse at the bottom, which to me was one of the greatest Bible studies I've ever done in my life. To pick the perfect verse for the bottom of the page. So if anyone who gets the book and reads the book and picks a day to read, they may have never opened up a Bible before. We don't know that. You could be passionate about God or passive about God, but the verse kind of closes the song, really, or the page very well. And it may lead them to open up a Bible, like I said, the first time. So there's a lot of things happening on every page. And I've had so many people through Facebook. We have quite a few people, as you know, that are on our page there that we go back and forth every day. And I had a woman who was going through breast cancer, and she used the book to use as her daily comfort, I guess, or spiritual guide. Wow. Which was very emotional when I got this. She sent me a postcard, which was wonderful, absolutely wonderful. So there's a lot of stories like that. It's just beginning, so that's really good too. So I'm looking forward to, see how the book grows and how people react to it. I mean, poetry, that's something I started that, when you're deciding, you kind of hinted on it. When you're reading a book, I think books have come back because of COVID. Secondly, it's a Christian book. And Christian books, there's a lot of Christian books out there, a lot of self-help books, a lot of empower yourself books. And this is none of that. This is every day is a totally original day. You put the day before to rest, and you're in the day that we're living right now. And I think it helps people within that day walk closer to God. And that's what I pray all the time is for relatives and friends, and people like that something we can sing, say, do, pray can help them get a little bit closer to God than they were yesterday.
Joe, first and foremost, man, I knew there was a reason why I liked you. You're a fellow New Englander. I'm sure we covered that before. It completely slipped my mind today. But first and foremost, right there, you're from Massachusetts. I'm from Rhode Island. You're a neighbor of mine.
Rhode Island. Yeah, Rhode Island. Yeah. Providence, Rhode Island.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Southern California now, have been for about 12 years. But absolutely, born and raised, family still there, friends, all of that. Love it. I go back home and visit at least a few times a year. But, not only that, Joe, but, hey, congratulations, man, on what sounds like such a wonderful, such a beautiful marriage. And family that you have and have constructed yourself. It's absolutely gorgeous,
very
man.
Blessed.
Nothing but continued success to you and your loved ones, Joe. That's a beautiful thing.
Thank you.
Thank
you very much.
Of course. Joe, without further ado, we know that this is a poetry book. We understand the concept behind it. I want to go into your title a little bit. Now, you started to talk to us about Soul Road. And really what that represents for you. Well, I want to talk about the subtitle. And I think I can assume.
Very important.
Yeah, I think I can assume where the title comes from. But you know what happens when you assume, Joe? So I'm not going to do that to you. I have you here on the line, man. I'm going to come right out and ask.
Right.
Now, the journey home, I want a journey I love. That home, I'm assuming. Or actually, I just said it. I'm not going to assume. You know what, Joe? Talk to us about that title, man, and why you chose that to be the representation.
What I mentioned before is that, I believe that we are on a journey home. And Soul Road is that we are all on a spiritual journey, from the cradle to the grave, the beginning to the end. And when that last second is ours to cross over, that we will meet God regardless of what we believe. The journey home was born out of the death of my dad. September of 2015, he died in his sleep. And a few months later, I had a very, very, very close, what I would call a spiritual dad, Charlie Allen, who does the prayer for the book. And he just recently died of COVID. So, but what happened is we met to pray, to cry, to talk about my dad. And I had a first book, Soul Road, no subtitle, and about 100 songs, and it did well. It was a self-published thing, which was great. But this one I wanted to just have it be far bigger, and we met talking about it. And initially I was going to do 200 pages, and it turned out to be far bigger, and then it turned out to be a devotional on top of that. But what happened was when my dad died, we had received a ton of sympathy cards, and the last sympathy card was from my wife's roommates, and the image is what the book, that's the image on the book now, and it brought me to my knees, and that's what really began the journey, I guess, the journey to write a second book. And what it is it's a man, which I obviously pictured as my dad, or Benji, you can picture, I don't know if your dad's still alive, or it could be your dad or your mom or whatever it is, embracing Christ at the gates of heaven. So I just believe in our life that has got to be the pinnacle moment of what we're here for. And so it took a while to get the rights to the book, the image, which we got, and that's what began the writing of the book. And my friend Charlie Allen, to go back to him for a second, he's the one that gave the title "The Journey Home," because he said if you're going to write a book, he said every single word in that book should aid in that person's journey home.
Absolutely.
And that's really, maybe that's the theme. Maybe that's really truly what the theme is that every, we are on this journey, and every page brings you hopefully closer to God, and that might be true, but every line and every word should bring you one step closer home. Mm-hmm. And that's that's where the subtitle came from. So thank you, Charlie.
I love it. People.
God bless his journey home.
Absolutely. People, again, we're here on the line with J.R. Canuel. We're discussing his wonderful book, Soul Road, The Journey Home, available for purchase through Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or directly through his site, soulroad.org. Joe, next question that I want to go into, let's cover inspiration. Now, specifically with, listen, it's clear based upon everything that you've said why this means so much to you. Now, this clearly could have been a book of poetry that you wrote, that you kept on your personal shelf, because again, it means that much to you. But you didn't stop there, Joe. You pushed forward and you published the book for the world to partake in as well. Now, I'm assuming that there's a very specific reason behind that, and I'd love to know your inspiration and why you felt this would be beneficial to your readers.
I believe, first of all, I believe that God gives me the inspiration for the song. It's a gift, like I said before, that he personally gave me. There's no other way to explain having a blank piece of paper or sitting down with your guitar, and all of a sudden you have a song that, that you play before your church in a concert, whatever it is. In a little bit, it moves people. They move people, and that became, it's always what I've done forever, ever since a teenager. But when I started writing Christian music, I was about 30 years old. It's led to this moment, meaning that I wanted it at first for my grandkids. I wanted to dedicate a day. I wrote a specific song for each one of them. I didn't dedicate it to them in the book, because I don't think anybody who's buying it randomly is going to care that I'm dedicating it to, my grandkids or my wife or whoever. But they know that. And so what happened was I wanted that at first. That's what I wanted at first, was that I could have a book, something that if I pass away or in the time when I'm gone, that they have a day that they need spiritual help, that I can speak through this book and God can speak through this book, and maybe, just maybe, that, we could aid them a little bit. And that's how it began, really, as the writing of the book. But it kind of took on a life of its own. I mean, God gave me so much that I knew that something was different. I just knew. I mean, it was just, everything was coming together. I kept writing material after an unbelievable stretch of time that I just kept writing and writing and writing. And I replaced, I would say, in the last 6 months, 50% of the book of songs that I loved. I mean, they were in there chosen very carefully, and I replaced probably a good half of the book over the last 6 months. It was incredible, and there's a lot of material to replace. And I kept saying to myself that when I pulled a song out, it's like removing one of your kids. It's like I'm going to replace them with another kid. It's just you love them that much, because that's just what a songwriter does. And but it just grew from there. It really did. And it just all came together so perfectly. And then like I said, the Bible verse, each one was perfect. It led, it closed that day really well. It really did. And like I said, I really hope now, as the book grows, and that, people who have never really been a Bible person can look at that song, read the song, take it in, read the Bible verse, and want to open up the Bible maybe for the first time.
Joe, last couple of questions here, man, as we start to close out of this wonderful interview. What would you say was a highlight for you in writing the book? Or if not a highlight, maybe something that surprised you in this entire journey that you weren't anticipating or expecting prior to embarking upon it?
All right, yeah, I can tell you. The book was done. I was done. And the end of last March, my best friend, really a brother, his wife passed away overnight. Totally surprised.
Wow.
Totally 48 years old, healthy, beautiful, just died of a heart attack overnight. And I remember, again, I'm done. I put so much work into that, every page, every Bible verse. I mean, on and on and on. And I remember praying, asking God after the day he told me, and like, what can I tell this guy? You know, I mean, I love him as much as I could, like a brother to a brother. I mean, but he just lost his wife. You know, I mean, what do you say? You know, that all things work together for good. You know, I don't. You know, you don't know. You just don't know what to say. But I started praying, and I realized that, you know, that this is a surprise to me of the book, was that all things do work together. And this last bit of this last song, the last one, is Lord, I pray to be worthy, meaning that when we pray that we bring a lot of baggage to God. You know, we bring a lot of the world to God during prayer, either before prayer, during prayer, after prayer. And I wrote this whole song, which that's why I put it right at the end of the book. I didn't date it. I didn't put it on a date. It's like a little surprise thing at the end, and it's the most important one, I think, of the whole book. That you know, prayer is everything. You know, it is for me, for anybody, for you, all our loved ones, and I just pray that they pray. But in order for me to have a better prayer life, I have to be worthy of those prayers, and I had to stop bringing garbage to God. That's how I look. That's how I say it in my concert. I got to stop bringing lust issues, greed issues, anger issues, whatever that happens to be, into prayer life. You know, the thoughts that are, you know, I needed to start clearing them out of my head, and God took a lot of them out of my head, which was amazing. It became this song that it says, Lord, I pray to be worthy of every prayer that I pray, right up to my dying day. I mean, it never ends. It can never end. And to me, that was, the greatest gift of the book for me personally. Somebody else could have a completely different day, or a completely different song, but to me, that was it for me. That was real inspirational to me.
That's deep, man. That is deep. You know, Joe, what's next for you, man? Please tell me there's another book, whether it's a sequel or something else that's in the work, man. What's on the horizon?
Oh, I started another one already. I mean, I've probably, I don't know what it'll be, but I mean, this is such as in its infancy. You know, you almost have to start organizing. I keep writing. I mean, I've written 2 Second Story. We had a very close family member pass, an older man, our Uncle Bernie. But I was sitting and praying about it. I ended up writing a song called "It's a Great Day in Heaven." This is about 6 weeks ago, so the book is long since done. But now, at the behest of my wife, when we're getting ready for our first concert, she goes, "You have to play this song at the end of the concert. It's everything my book talks about in song." And so it really does make you think that, you know, there has to be something after this. Mm-hmm. You know, in what form, I don't know. You know, if anybody's got an idea, I'm open to it. But I'm just trying to work on more music stuff now to go along with the book. That's a lot of work all to itself. I'm not sure quite how to do that because there's so many songs. But there's a lot of work left to do.
Yeah, of course.
It's a lot of work left to do.
I love it.
We're really just beginning. I mean, with this publisher coming now, they have totally different ideas than the other publisher did. So I'm anxious to hear them and see how they want to implement them and how it changes what I do. So.
Listen, people, if this interview hasn't moved you, pinch yourself. I don't know what's going on, okay? I'm motivated. I know you all are as well. And here's the great thing. We haven't even touched on any of his poetry. I mean, this is a poetry book. We've just covered the surrounding areas. And now the onus is on you. There's no getting around it. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, soulroad.org are the places you have to go. Soul Road, The Journey Home is the title you have to pick up, and J.R. Canuel is the author you have to thank for bringing this wonderful book to your table. And make sure, as he just said, check in frequently to soulroad.org, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, because there is another book already in the process of being created. You know what you need to do. That's a great addition to your shelf, but an even better gift for you to add to someone else's. So head on over there today and pick up your copies. Joe, this has been an absolute pleasure, man. Such an honor. I truly mean that. Thank you once again for being a guest with us on People of Distinction.
Yeah, you're welcome. More than welcome. That's great.